Welcome students. In today's session we will be learning political developments in South America. It's in History Unit 2 and we are doing part 3 of that lesson. So Mayas and Aztec. Before the European discovery of America, before the Europeans came and discovered America, three centers of civilization. There were three centers, there were three types of civilizations that existed. There in where do we have? Mexico in Central America and in Peru in South America. So there were three kinds of civilizations that existed in these parts of South America. One is in Mexico, one is in Central America, and the other one is in Peru. So what are the three types of civilizations? The Maya, the Inca and the Aztec civilizations were highly advanced. So civilization in Tamil means Nagarigam. So here in South America, these three civilizations were highly advanced. So there were several states in each of these areas of civilization. So in this civilization, you can see that there were several states. There were few states. Well organized and strong governments existed. So in these states you had well organized as well as strong governments. Stable governments were there in these states. Around the 11th century, large cities formed into a league of Mayappan. That is, so now what happened is the larger cities in these states, they joined together and they formed a league. League, we already know, league means group, which was called as Mayappan, and center of Maya civilization of Native Americans, America Indians. Okay, so they formed a group. For over 100 years, the leagues of Mayappan lasted. So this league, this group lasted for around 100 years. Though Mayappan was destroyed towards the close of the 12th century, so when there was really like 12th century, when it was closing to the 12th century, this Mayappan flourished. It was not there. It's not flourished, it was destroyed. Other cities were continued. Aztec from Mexico conquered the Maya country in the 14th century and founded their capital city of Tenochtitlan. So what happened is Aztecs, that we saw, that is a civilization from Mexico. They went and captured the Maya country. There were three types of civilization and one which is Maya. So they went and captured that in the 14th century and had their capital at a place called Tenochtitlan. For nearly 200 years, the Aztecs ruled their empire. So what happened is the whole of the Mayan empire was ruled by the Aztecs for about 200 years. European colonization and its impact. So what happened because of European colonization in South America, and what was the result because of that colonization? In the 16th century, that's around 1519, when the Aztecs were at the height of their power, the whole empire collapsed before a handful of adventurers led by a Spaniard named Hernan Cortes. So this person you have to remember. So what happened is, when it was in the 16th century, the Aztecs, they were in supreme power. The whole empire had to collapse because of a person, an adventurer, who's a Spanish person, and his name was Hernan Cortes. Mexican civilization. So Aztec civilization collapsed because of which person? A Spanish person called Hernan Cortes. Now next we learn about Mexican civilization collapsed. With it, the great city of, so when Mexican civilization collapsed, that capital city which is called Tenochtitlan also perished, was destroyed, vanished away. This is one of the world's worst genocides. Genocide is, it's like a huge massacre where a group of people are killed together. We call it as genocides. The other famous conquistor, which means conqueror, was also a Spaniard by name Francisco Pizarro, who led the conquest means search, of the Incan Empire. So the other person who went and conquered was a Spanish person called Francisco Pizarro. He went and conquered the Incan Empire. Later, the Spaniards made Peru a part of their dominion. So, the Spanish people, they took Peru to a part of their dominion. By the late 18th century, demand for political freedom. So, in the later part of the 18th century, they wanted political freedom, administrative autonomy. Autonomy means single person ruling it. That's called autonomy. Okay. So, administrative autonomy and economic self-determination was articulated throughout Latin America. So, Latin America is people in America where they speak Portugal and Spanish. Those places are called as Latin America. There were bloody conflicts, fights, conflict means fights between Haitian slaves. This is a kind of people there, a place called Haiti, and those slaves are called Haitian slaves. Colonists, there were fights between Haitian slaves, colonists, armies of the British and the French colonizers. So, 4 types of people were fighting there. These struggles, led by the Tauset All Overture during 1791 to 1804, ended in the Haitian people's independence. So, what happened is, when these struggles were going on, and this was led by a person called Tauset El Overture, a French name, okay, during which year 1791 to 1804, and because of those struggles, Haitian people, they got independence from the colonial control of France. Okay. Haiti thus became the first Caribbean country. So, Caribbean is, a part of it, a Caribbean country. So, Haiti was a Caribbean country to throw off slavery and French colonial control. So, because of those struggles, they were able to get independence. Okay, so that we learn here. Then we go on to impact of Napoleon invasion of Spain and Portugal. Just now I told you Latin America is where people, parts of America where people speak Spanish and Portugal. So, what happened because of the Napoleon invasion, we are going to see. So, the American and French Revolution provided inspiration to the Latin Americans. So, when these Latin Americans, that is people who speak Spanish and Portugal, they saw the American and French revolutions, they got inspired, they were motivated by that. The Napoleonic invasion of Spain and Portugal in 1808 quickened the process of liberation struggle in South America. So, when the Napoleonic people invaded, came to Spain and Portugal, they had to fight against it, and thus they had to liberate themselves in South America. Already the spirit of independence was growing under the leadership of Simon Bolivar. So, what happened here is, you see that they were fighting for independence under the leadership of Simon Bolivar, called El Liberator. The liberator. Liberator means person who frees a country is called as a liberator. In the case of Brazil, the Portuguese royal family, in the context of conquest of Portugal. So, in Brazil, what happened is, the Portuguese royal family, the king family, in an idea to conquest means in idea to capture Portugal by Napoleon, in the context of conquest of Portugal by Napoleon, they fled, that family, the royal family fled from Lisbon, and thereby assisted the transition of Brazil from colony to independent nation. So, since they were able to transit means move from one place to the other, they were able to assist, they were able to give them a kind of direction onto how they can free the Brazil from colonization to an independent nation. Pedro I renouncing. So, renouncing is willingly saying no to something is called renouncing. So, Pedro I renouncing the claim to the Portuguese throne. He didn't want the Portuguese throne. He declared the independence of Brazil. So, and then we have the Monroe Doctrine. Doctrine is a rule, we can call it as a rule. So, the Monroe Doctrine. The fight for independence intensified when Napoleon fell in 1815. So, people in South America, they started they started fighting for independence more and more when Napoleon fell off in 1815. But Monroe, the president of the USA, that is America, came up with this famous Monroe Doctrine, which declared that if Europeans interfered anywhere in America, north or south, it would amount to waging a war against the United States. So now what happened is, a person called Monroe, who was the president of USA, he said, if any European country came and fought in America, whether it's north part of America or south part of America, not even fought, if they interfered, then it will be treated as a war. So USA will think that they have come for a war and they will take it against them. This threat, so this fear frightened the European powers. By 1830, the whole of South America was free from European domination. So because of that, whole of South America, none of the European countries came to fight there, and so they were out of the European domination. Thus, the US protected the South American republics from Europe, but there was no one to protect them from the protector, the United States. So, the USA protected the South American from the Europe, but who was not been able to protect? The United States themselves. Disunity among Latin American nationalists. So disunity is, there was no unity among the Latin American nationalists, people in the nation. Latin American nationalists fought not only Spain and Portugal but also each other. So what happened is, Latin American people in the nationalists, the leaders, they fought not only in Spain and Portugal but even within themselves. In 1821, Central America ceded from Mexico. So ceded is they moved away from Mexico. Later in 1839, Central America itself split into 5 republics. So now you can see Central America is getting split up into 5 republics: Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras and Nicaragua. Uruguay split from Brazil in 1828. So these are all small places that you will have to remember, and this was split from Brazil. In 1830, Venezuela and Ecuador ceded from Gran Colombia. So ceded again, they split away from Gran Colombia, the republic created by Bolivar. Okay, so this is you can see all these places here that we have learned from the map. Then we move on to US imperial interest. So at the dawn of the 20th century, the United States has occupied Cuba and Puerto Rico after defeating the Spanish in 1898. So what happened is, in the United States, they occupied Cuba and Puerto after defeating the Spanish. From 1898 to 1902, Cuba was under the US military rule. When the Americans finally left, they retained a naval station in Cuba, but finally the Americans, they left at a later stage. But what happened is, they had power over a naval is ship station in Cuba. Roosevelt made an important amendment is law, to the doctrine, which doctrine? Monroe Doctrine, in 1904. It authorized US intervention in Latin America. So what was the change that he made? He said that US can go and intervene in Latin America. Why? In order to maintain order. Okay. After effecting this amendment, the US became the dominant influence not only politically but also in economics. So because of this small change in the law, they were able to have a dominant, supreme influence over not only politically but also economically. Great Depression in South America. We learnt about Great Depression. Now how did that Great Depression affect South America? The situation created by the Great Depression made it impossible for oligarchic regimes. So oligarchic means a small group of people they rule the country. That's called oligarchic regime. Regime is it's a kind of rule, okay, to accommodate the rising expectations of several assertive groups. So they were able to meet up with the assertive groups. Expectations of the assertive is positive groups. In Mexico, there was violent social protest involving dissatisfied segments of oligarchy. So what happened in Mexico was there was a violent protest, opposition happening, between whom, if you say, between oligarchy. Oligarchy is a small group of people, middle class intellectuals, the middle class people, and peasant communities. Peasants are farmer communities. Elsewhere, electoral reform, electoral means election reform, enabled newer social groups to obtain political power through the ballot box. So in everywhere else, rather than Mexico, everywhere else what happened is, because of election, new social groups, they were coming into political power because of the ballot box. Ballot box is what the box where you put your votes, okay. Latin America protested American intervention. So we already learned that right now. So America was given the power to go and intervene in Latin America. Now Latin America is protesting, it is opposing, and disliked their dollar imperialism. Whose dollar imperialism? American dollar imperialism. That we will be learning what it is. What is dollar imperialism? It's a 2-mark question also. The opposition to political intervention produced a change in the US policy after 1933. Franklin Roosevelt, in his Good Neighbor policy, agreed that the US would not intervene in the internal affairs of their state and would give economic and technical assistance to Latin America. So we learn about another person called Franklin Roosevelt. So what he did is, he said that he will not intervene with the Latin American, but they will give only economic and technical support. So what is dollar imperialism? So dollar means money. Okay, the term used to describe the policy of the USA in maintaining and dominating over distant lands through economic aid. So what they would do is, USA, they will maintain and they will have supreme power over another land because of their money. That is what we call it as dollar imperialism. Imperialism is, we know that. So having a control over another country is called imperialism. Dollar imperialism is USA having money, they will control and maintain the lands, distant lands, far off lands through economic aid. Aid is money. Okay. So go through the lesson as much as you can.